Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your Daily Detroit. It is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. I am Jer Stays, and we've got some big news to talk about. And to join me is somebody who I usually see on a Friday, but making a special appearance because of the specific topic that we are getting into. Devin O'Reilly, how are you west of Woodward?
I'm doing well. I mean, yes, I had to stop in for this for multiple reasons. You know, in my parking lot at work, I can see the glass house essentially. And at the end of my street, I can see the new hub. So I'm pretty intimately connected with all the goings on of today's announcement.
So to level set, in case you're new here and didn't hear the episode yesterday, there will be a new Ford World headquarters. It is already well in progress over next to the Henry Ford and Greenfield Village. That will be complete in 2027. And coming down in the next 18 months or so, the Glass House was built in 1956, kind of a piece of iconic modern architecture, at least to a lot of Detroiters for decades who've driven down Michigan Avenue. This is something that I think people were expecting some news about the new Ford World headquarters. If you've been in Dearborn, and I have, you've been seeing just how beautiful and how big this building is. And my first thought when I saw it going up, I'm like, this is going to make the Glass House seem redundant. And here we go.
Here we go, Jer. Yeah, I think it's important to level set and understand that, this announcement today is kind of the culmination of a lot of work that's already been going on. As you mentioned, there's an entire campus that has been being built for several years now over on Oakwood Boulevard, across from Greenfield Village. Essentially, that's the easiest way to say it. Ford already had, it's not that they did not acquire new land. There was no new land acquired for this hub. This was all land they owned already on their kind of engineering grounds, across from the proving grounds. The land existed, but they've just reimagined it over a number of years, and people are already working there. So, make no mistake, this is already a functioning office space. Now it's going to continue to grow when they talk about 4,000 people working in this hub and 15,000 employees in a 15-minute walk. They're creating this incredible, massive campus, but make no mistake, people are working there right now. So as they do this transition, it's not like there's any kind of a lag between when employees are going to be able to start working at the hub. The answer is they're working there now.
Well, and that's one thing I see a lot online is I don't think people realized that things have been changing with Ford for a while. And honestly, and this was a few years ago, the last time I went to the Glass House, it was a little bit long in the tooth, Actually,
I've been to the Glass House as recently as about a month ago for a meeting, and it was really tired. It really, really was tired looking, and they had made some strides to kind of lipstick on a pig type of situation where the cafeteria was a little bit newer. It had been renovated the last few years, but it was kind of sad. And, it's got that great 1950s architecture, but that also has a lot of drawbacks. You've got small office spaces, low ceilings. You don't kind of have the modern office plan, as it were, and you can't do much to retrofit a building like that because of the way it's built. And I think, again, this is obviously a play to attract workers back to the office, which is what they want to do anyway. And the Glass House in it was always kind of an island, literally and figuratively, right there with just surrounded by freeways and green space. And I think this is a much better way to integrate it into West Dearborn, which I'm excited about, to be very, very close, a walk, a bike ride, a scooter ride, short car ride from everything that's going on in downtown West Dearborn, including more Ford office space at the Wagner Place. So this just kind of connects everything right there with Greenfield Village, which of course is the largest tourist destination in Michigan. So having the headquarters across from there just creates this center of activity. And what do we always talk about, Jer? Density, density, density. This inevitably creates a lot more density for workers and for just activity.
I think people don't think about Dearborn around the density conversation, but there's so much of Dearborn that actually is walkable. They're encouraging these things. I know there's this narrative that all auto companies want to do is only sell you cars, but I don't think that Ford thinks that way.
Yeah, I mean, they made the $1 billion investment in Michigan Central, which at the end of the day, is that going to do an ROI? Probably not. But it really planted their flag in Detroit and said, we are here and, we are interested in making an impact here. This, as we've talked about multiple times on the show, Jer, this hub has always been more expensive. It's over $1 billion in investment. And it's definitely more, looking at kind of creating a space for employees to have a place to work, but also enjoy themselves, connect with each other, feel more connected to the community. And I think that's what it's going to deliver.
So the new headquarters on Oakwood Boulevard is just a behemoth. So it's more than 2 million square feet, whereas the Glass House was under 1 million. Okay. There's so many more types of workspaces, garages, fabrication shops, studios, open concept spaces. Like, it's a very modern thought befitting of a company the size of Ford. It can handle double the employees as the old greenhouse or as the old Glass House. Freudian slip. I said greenhouse because there's so many sustainability features inside the new thing. And I know some people don't like green stuff or don't care, but at the end of the day, many times being sustainable and being energy efficient means spending less money. I mean, I think that's just the reality of the matter. So there's just so many more modern upgrades, a bigger food hall, giant green space. Like, this feels like a step forward. And I just don't think a lot of people in the region even knew that this was happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm spoiled because I see it every day, literally. But I think, a lot of people maybe did not realize that they were this far along or that this massive of a development was taking place. I've seen some renderings of like what's going to go in as far as the food space, the beverage space. I mean, Jared, there's going to be like a cocktail wine bar in there. There's going to be massive multi-concept cafeteria space, lots of commingling spaces, collaborative spaces. They want to make it feel like a campus. I mean, they want this to be Google or Apple or, pick your favorite tech company. That's what they want it to feel like, not an auto company. So it's really exciting. I mean, I'm biased because it's right in my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, literally. And I'm really excited for West Dearborn because this is going to, I think, inject even more economic activity. I think it'll encourage people to leave and venture out a little bit onto kind of the greater campus there where they didn't do that in the Glass House. And then finally, Jared, I'm also really excited at the prospect of what is going to become of the current Glass House area, because all indications are from the article and from Ford is they're not selling this off and kind of being done with it. It sounds like they will raise the Glass House, and then this could be definitely at least somewhat, or if not in large part, a community element, a public space, something that people can enjoy, which I think would be a great use of it. But no indication that Ford is letting go of this space. I don't think they're selling it. So that's kind of good.
There's so much potential with that land that they control there right at Michigan Avenue, which is really in this kind of middle point of Dearborn,
There's kind of some efforts underway or had been underway to kind of rebrand that Midtown area, which is like Fairlane, actually the old Fairlane grounds of the estate, basically. So what was Fairlane Town Center, the mall, Fairlane, the Henry and Clara Ford estate, U of M Dearborn, and then the Ford World Headquarters is kind of part of that piece. And that's kind of like the midpoint of Dearborn between kind of east and west. And it feels there's not a lot of connectivity right now. And so to be able to maybe put something in there that's a public space, a gathering space, it would feel very central to the city. And I think that would be really cool. And it's also accessible for other people. I mean, it's not just for Dearborn. It's very accessible off of like Southfield Freeway, off of Michigan Avenue. It's pretty easy to get to if you are a neighbor of the city of Dearborn.
Well, I want to wrap up then on a couple of business points. I think one, people might forget you have a lot of experience dealing with like regional business, dealing even on the local level in the city of Dearborn and talking and working with local businesses. Why, from a local perspective, do you think that this can be such a catalyst for that immediate area?
I look back, and when I lived in Dearborn previously, there was a tremendous Ford lunch crowd. I mean, it filled up a lot of the restaurants in Dearborn. A lot of restaurants in Dearborn used to make their money off of the lunch crowd and the happy hour crowd. And several different factors, obviously COVID, but also Ford kind of shortened their lunch at one point. It really decimated that, and it brought the downfall of quite a few businesses in that West Dearborn area. Now, Ford has reinvested with Wagner Place, and so there are actually hundreds of Ford employees actually working in downtown West Dearborn as it is, and that's kind of been able to pick things back up. But I think this will just add to that and really kind of invigorate that West Downtown, which already is doing really well. But I do hope it also kind of spills over, because if you're going into the office more, you might want to live near where you work, or you might find yourself spending more time after work or on the weekend. So, it'll definitely be a driver of, I think, additional economic activity, because at the end of the day, Ford does want more people, just like every big company right now. Everybody wants workers to come back, and they're just trying to figure out how to do that without being too pushy. So building them a beautiful multi-billion-dollar campus is one way to do that. And I think they're definitely hoping that this will lead to more employees back at work in the office and interacting with each other.
Yeah, and if you're an East Sider like me and don't have a friend on the West Side, You should go check out like the stuff they've done with Wagner Place. I've toured it. It's pretty impressive as far as like a downtown space. Now, as I said, downtown West Dearborn, but it really is something special that they've done there. And again, another one of those developments, I feel like it got a little bit of buzz, but because it wasn't in the city proper, it didn't get the same kind of kickoff, as far as everybody knowing about it.
It also kind of coincided with COVID too. It was right around that time, just before and then kind of through COVID, and it just kind of sat dormant for quite a while. It's seeing a lot of life. It's kind of a microcosm of the campus that they want to create. And so this is just creates a lot of connectivity because from that Wagner Place, like I said, it's a bike ride. It's a very, very short car ride. You could easily be a walk as well to the campus. So I think there's going to be a lot of thought between partnerships in the city and Ford Motor Company and how can we create a more walkable, easily traversable pathways between the hub and everything that's going to be going on there and Dearborn, and then also Greenville Village and Henry Ford Museum. So it really creates a lot of opportunities and activity in that space. I did see, Jared, in the article, they're actually transferring the address and the name. So it sounds like it still will be, once again, Henry Ford II World Headquarters on One American Drive. So that's an interesting touch. So they're going to transfer it.
That's nice. And to zoom out from a regional perspective, before I let you go, this talent attraction thing is so big. We've talked about before the Growing Together Michigan Report. We had Hillary Doe on. We've talked about this so many different angles with so many experts around attracting people to stay in Michigan and to move to Michigan. From a regional business perspective, I feel like this is a power play and it will help encourage something that will bring more neighbors and more interest, not just to Dearborn, but to the entire region, because Ford's in a very competitive space. It's not just about hiring people here in Metro Detroit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is absolutely a regional play. I mean, good news for Dearborn, but really good news for the area. More jobs, more economic activity. Because of where it's situated, it's a super easy trip. People, hey, I'd love for you to live in Dearborn, but also you could live in Royal Oak. You could live in Ferndale. You could live in Canton. You could live in Ypsilanti and be, less than 30 minutes and probably more like 20 minutes from your work. You could live downtown. And so it creates a lot of opportunity, hopefully a lot of opportunity for more talent to come here. And so it's absolutely a big kind of play for regional talent attraction and retention.
And we are going to be doing a little bit more coverage around this too, because a historian with the city of Dearborn is actually going to be joining us later in the week talking about the history of Ford's world headquarters over the years, which I'm really excited about. We're going to get really nerdy on that one. I'm sure you'll enjoy listening to it.
I would love to listen to that. It'll be much more entertaining or enjoyable than our little chat, but I know you had to get me on here because, I was bursting with excitement at the news today.
And it's a big deal for Dearborn, and it's a big deal for Metro Detroit, and a huge deal for Michigan. Well, Devin O'Reilly, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me a few minutes. I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate you always.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, Jared.
Well, before we let you go, a reminder that we're going to have our studio open house this Saturday, the 20th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Coffee, donuts, conversation, Detroit stuff. Meet the people behind the team. Enjoy the studio. Meet your neighbors. There is a link in the show notes on Eventbrite to come here to Tech Town. We'll have a good time. As I said, coffee, donuts, and all the things. Well, with that, I am Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.